Welcome to the Newsa-Cast YouTube channel. These Red Smith Banquet throwbacks are exclusive interviews of sports legends, powerful media personalities, and influential coaches. You won't find these anywhere else. Subscribe below and enjoy. Well, Tosh, it's that time again, once again, for the Red Smith Banquet throwback. And we got a good one this year, Tosh, or this week, I should say. I remember this well. 2010, the Duke grad, Jay Bilas.
Yeah, he was fantastic. He's also huge. What is he, 6'8"? So that was like holy crap. But fantastic. Yeah, he was a great player for Duke. Also a really great coach. He coached there for three years while he was attending law school at Duke. But yeah, he, top 50 recruit out of high school.
When you think of the typical Duke player, I mean, Jay Bilas is that guy. I mean, he was a tremendous basketball player, but super, super smart. Like you mentioned, I had forgotten until you brought that up. He coached and played at the same time, and then played then continued coaching while he got his law degree at Duke. So super smart guy. We see him on ESPN as well. I mean, you can tell he's well spoken and honestly, one of the all-time great tweeters as well. I don't know if that's a term anymore, but he always has his daily little rap that he puts out, and that's not easy to do when you're putting out daily content to keep coming up with that daily content.
Exactly,
it takes a smart person to do that. So he's really good at that,
and it's amazing. He has been on. My dogs are going crazy. He has literally been on ESPN since 1995.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
Well, it speaks to how smart he is, how good he is, but it's a long time because he that was basically right after his playing career, just a few years removed from his playing career. So he was entertaining, definitely.
He is entertaining. And I do love his segments leading into March Madness. I mean, he does all the picking. Yeah. He owns up when he's totally wrong. He showed us at the banquet just a down-to-earth guy.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Yeah, I mean, he was just really fantastic to be able to sit and talk to and listen to, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys are going to enjoy this one. This was 2010. Jay Bilas. When we had Whitey Herzog. I think we played him earlier for you. So we had Whitey Herzog and Donald Driver was there that year. So 2010 from the Paper Valley Hotel in Appleton, Wisconsin. Enjoy Jay Bilas.
We have asked Jack Bennett, the winningest basketball coach in UW-Stevens Point history, to introduce our main speaker. Jack, through 9 seasons at Stevens Point, had 200 wins and 56 losses. He is one of only 3 coaches ever to lead a team to back-to-back national championships, and just the 2nd coach in the 90-year history of the WIAC to win 5 league titles in his first 9 seasons as head coach. During Bennett's tenure, the Pointers made 5 NCAA tournament appearances, 4 trips to the Elite 8, winning national titles in 2004 and 2005. Jack has 33 years of coaching. He won championships at every school and level that he coached. In 2006, was inducted into the Wisconsin Basketball Hall of Fame. Recently, the court at Stevens Point was named in honor of both Jack and Dick Bennett, and it's called the Bennett Court. He received the 2007 Nice Guy Award at this banquet. He truly is a nice guy. Please welcome Jack Bennett.
Thank you, Chuck. Thank you. Well, first of all, I want to extend my congratulations to all the recipients tonight, all the students and those volunteer workers. And I want to pay special homage to the people who organize this banquet. Too often, it's just a passing name. And, Chuck, Paul McCann, Dick Fredericks, Joe Ornstein, if you guys are here, would you just wave, say something here? They really do deserve a round of applause. Yeah. And finally, to the guy who I just think, he's a doer, but he's also a talker. He does both, but he gets it done year after year. And that's the guy who really organizes this, Michael Reese. Mike. You've come a long way since Ripon College, Mike. It really is an honor to be here to introduce our guest speaker, but I'm not sure who was more excited to do it, me or my wife. When she heard I was introducing Jay Bilas, she said, oh, he's one of my favorites. He's got those cute dimples. His syntax and the way he expresses himself is so good. Oh, I just can't wait. She said, there's only one thing I can't figure out. Why didn't they get somebody more important to introduce him? So you got me, Jay, and I'm sorry about that, but we're lucky to get Jay. He's so darn busy. Jay Bilas makes more commercials than Peyton Manning. And that's pretty hard to do. Than Tiger Woods. That's not real hard anymore. He makes more commercials than that ShamWow guy, you know? And I'm waiting. You'll really know you've made it if you start making commercials for those Snuggies. You know, I'd like to see you wear one at one of your games. You know, you got me, but, you know, we had to settle for you as well. I think, Mike, your first choice this year, if I'm not mistaken, was Andy Katz. Some of you have seen him on ESPN. However, his price went way up this year. He's a Wisconsin grad, right? His price went way up after the Badgers pounded the Duke Blue Devils. And of course, Doug Gottlieb was one. He's one that really, well, Bill Raftery, good friend after he spoke here, he said, you know, the most knowledgeable basketball guy on ESPN is Doug Gottlieb. And he says, and if you don't believe me, just ask Doug. So we have Jay. Now let me get through the formal introduction. I mean, there is some good stuff about the guy. Oh, by the way, I think you need a shtick. You're good, but there's an old Irish coach from Notre Dame. He's got those stupid markers, you know, and his tie always has to match. I want Jay to have some of my old ties right here and markers so that he can look like Digger Phelps. All right? So here you go, Jay. You can throw these babies away when you get done with them. My wife wanted me to clear those out for the last 10 years. Serious stuff. Former Duke standout and attorney. You're an attorney. Wow, we won't hold that against you. Jay Bilas joined ESPN as a college basketball game analyst beginning with the 1995-96 season. Currently, Bilas serves as game analyst, working more than 40 games a year, and studio analyst for ESPN's weekly Saturday College Game Day roadshow, ESPN and ESPN2's College Game Night, formerly College Hoops Tonight, halftimes, post-games, and much more. In addition, Bilas is a regular contributor to ESPN News, ESPN Radio, ESPN.com, and mobile ESPN. He also provides analysis for ESPN's coverage of the NBA Draft, the NCAA Final Four, and select Sports Center stories, utilizing both his basketball and legal backgrounds. He has served as game analyst during the NCAA Men's Basketball Championship for CBS Sports since 2003. Just going to go over the real highlights here. In 2007, Bilas was nominated for an Emmy Award as Outstanding Studio Analyst, received the Best Column of the Year award from the U.S. Basketball Writers Association, and received the Distinguished Young Alumni Award from Duke Law School. The 6'8" Bilas was a 4-year starter for Mike Krzyzewski at Duke from 1983 through 86. As a forward/center, he finished his career with 1,062 points, 692 rebounds, and was third among Duke's all-time career field goal percentage leaders at 56%. As a senior, Bilas was a member of the 37-win Duke squad that played in the NCAA National Championship game in 1986. And as Bill Raftery is fond of saying, in that game, he held never nervous Purvis Ellison to 25 points and 11 rebounds. Quite a job there, Jay. Bilas graduated from Duke in 1986 with a degree in political science. He later went on to graduate from Duke University Law School in 1992. A 1986 NBA draft pick of the Dallas Mavericks, Bilas played professionally in Italy in 87-88, Spain in 1989, before returning to Duke as an assistant coach from 1990 through 92. The Blue Devils made 3 NCAA championship game appearances during his tenure as coach, winning the championship in 91 and 92. Jay is a member of the Screen Actors Guild. He has appeared in various commercials, as we mentioned before, and an episode in the television show The White Shadow. How many of you remember that show? Yes. You know, in that episode, he held Warren Coolidge. Remember, he was the center? He held him to 30 points in that episode. He also had a feature role in the 1989 Columbia Pictures movie, I Come in Peace. I don't remember that one too well. Sorry. Jay is a native of Rolling Hills, California. He averaged 23.7 points and 13.5 rebounds as a senior at Rolling Hills High School. He is also a partner in a charitable foundation called Athletes United for Youth, which benefits youth education in the greater Charlotte area. Now, let me add just a couple final comments. This is an easy introduction, because I really do believe Jay Bilas is one of the very best analysts in any sport on television. Football, basketball, baseball. And it's pretty clear why he is so well thought of. He's concise. He's informative. He doesn't just tell you what happened, he gives you good insight in what might happen. He teaches. You know, he was a coach. He understands what the listener wants. And yet, when he does it, especially, you're good when you're on your own, but like the Beatles, you're good when you're together. When he's with Bill Raftery and Sean McDonough, they are a true team. They are a team in the sense of the word. They make plays for one another. That's what we always talked about with our team. It's not good enough to make yourself look good. Make your teammates look good. And I've seen too many analysts who are only there to be controversial, to say something that they think will draw attention to themselves, to be hypercritical. You know, you get tired of seeing ex-coaches who didn't do much who have all the answers. Jay Bilas isn't one. In fact, he was smart enough to get out of coaching after a couple of years and go into TV. He's just really good for the game of basketball. And I have one request, Jay, because I never thought I'd say these words. The University of Virginia is undefeated in the ACC and leading the ACC right now. Yes, my nephew Tony. So, when you do that Duke-Virginia game, I don't want to see your Duke blue blood bias come through, all right? I want you to give that Virginia team its due. Now, I'm very proud to introduce our guest speaker. He's a gentleman. His character is top-notch. He's got a good reputation, but his character is what makes his reputation. Let's give a Red Smith welcome to Jay Bilas.
When my father first saw me get a standing ovation, he told me not to get too cocky, that people were just straightening their shorts. And I tend to think that was at work there, but thank you very much. You know, there are a few secrets to giving a great speech, and apparently there's still a secret to Jack Bennett. I'd like to thank you all for having me here. I know that you had my broadcast partners, Sean McDonough and Bill Raftery, here in years past, so now you have completed the Three Stooges by having me here. I know that also by having those two, the bar has been set awfully low. I think I can clear it. And I'd also like to thank Mike Reese for having me. This serves a dual purpose for me. It also fulfills the community service portion of my sentence. I have to tell you, I'm a little out of sorts. Not just that I was asked to speak on the 19th and it's now the 20th. But when I got here today, a very nice gentleman approached me and said, "Excuse me, did anyone ever tell you you look like Jay Bilas?" And I said, "Yes, sir, that happens to me all the time." And he said, "Well, that must really piss you off." So I shook it off and I thought, you know, I'll call my wife and let her know that I got in okay and how excited I am to be here. And I said, "Honey, you know, I'm in Appleton, Wisconsin, and the lights are going out." You know, if the staff wants us to leave, there are easier ways to do it. Thought it was perfectly appropriate when the mic went out a little earlier, but not now. But I said to my wife, you know, "Honey, did you ever in your wildest dreams think that I would be speaking at the Red Smith Banquet in Appleton, Wisconsin?" And she said, "Jay, you're never in my wildest dreams." So, you know, Whitey, you had to overcome your throat. I had to overcome all that. I have to tell you that I grew up in Los Angeles, and to me, you know, I didn't have a great understanding of the Midwest when I was growing up in LA. To me, the Midwest was somewhere you came to get bronchitis. When I was recruited to play basketball in college, I came down to a few schools at the end and took my visits, and one of them was the University of Iowa when Lute Olson was coaching there. And I was the first player from California that Lute recruited, and I asked him once why he recruited me in California. He said, "Well, if I thought I could get you, you know, if I could get you, I thought I could go out there and get some of the good players." When he sat in my living room, I know a lot of you know who Lute Olson is. He's considered to be a good-looking man. At the time he was considered, that was 1981, he was the Paul Newman of college basketball. A mantle that once held by Jack Bennett, I'm sure. You know, at the end of the visit, I wasn't sure whether I was going to Iowa, but my mom had her bags packed to Iowa City. She was going. But also, I had the pleasure, I got to know the Midwest a little bit better. In 1985, I played for a coach you're very familiar with. I played on the United States national select basketball team that played in the World Championships in 1985, and the head coach was Gene Cady. When we had our first team meeting in West Lafayette in the lovely Holiday Inn, he had a blackboard there that had all of our rooming assignments on it, practice times for training camp, and up in the upper right-hand corner, there were written the team goals. And there were two team goals. Team goal number 1 was win the gold medal. Team goal number 2 was fight communism. Go ahead and laugh. 5 years later, that damn Berlin Wall came down. So on behalf of myself and Gene Katie, you're welcome. Donald Driver jumped 7'6". I brought down the Berlin Wall. I also had the pleasure of playing college basketball at Duke for Mike Krzyzewski, and I thought it was interesting that what did you refer to the win by Wisconsin? Did you call it a blowout, or
Whatever.
what was it, 1 point?
No. More than that. 3.
Sorry, Jack, but where I come from, words have meaning. But I also had, in playing for Coach K, he's become an icon. He wasn't when I played for him. In fact, I'd never heard of him when he recruited me, and I made the mistake of telling him that. He recruited me. I said, well, geez, Coach K, I've never really heard of you. And he said, well, give me a break. I just heard about you about 6 months ago. But I really enjoyed playing for him, and I was here tonight, and we had a little reception earlier, and somebody came up to me and said, boy, you are so lucky to have played for Coach K. I mean, that's $1 million education you got from him. And I said, yeah, he shoved it up my ass a nickel at a time. First year I played for him, I called my mother, and I told her, I said, he's called me every name in the book. And she said, well, what's wrong with that? And I said, none of them's Jay. I wasn't sure he knew who I was for the first year, but I learned a tremendous amount from him. I was really lucky to have played for him. And after my senior year, he was kind enough to tell me that I was the player that played for him that put the suck in success. One of the great joys that I have in my job now, and it's amazing that they call it work because it's not any work at all, is working with your former speakers here, Sean McDonough and Bill Raftery. My first game working with them, they had been a team for a long time, and my bosses at ESPN thought that putting me with them would work out. I wasn't so sure that I'd be accepted by them, and the first game we had, we did UConn at Notre Dame, and you both were ranked in the top 15 in the country that year. And Notre Dame had a kid by the name of Danny Miller, and Danny Miller made a great play and goes in and completes the play, and there's a foul called, and Raftery says in the way only he can, he says, "It's Miller time, and you know how I love hearing that." And without missing a beat, Sean McDonough says, "Except on Big Monday, brought to you by Bud Light." And I thought, you know what? I'm home. I can work with these guys. And we have had an unbelievably good time together. You all know Bill. Nobody that has ever met Bill or been around him has a bad word to say about him. You have heard Sean when he spoke here. I'm not sure he could see over the podium, but I don't think there's a better play-by-play man in the business than Sean McDonough. Last year, we were privileged enough to do the Syracuse-UConn game in Madison Square Garden that went 6 overtimes. The proudest moment that Bill Raftery and I had in that game was that we did not get in the way of Sean McDonough in what I thought was a perfect call of a basketball game. And I couldn't have been prouder to be sitting next to those two guys during that game because it was what college athletics is really all about. The game ended about, we didn't get out of Madison Square Garden until after 2:30 in the morning. And Raftery said, "I'm usually just getting started right about now." Tell you another quick story about Raftery. We just finished a game in South Bend. We were in South Bend, Indiana. Notre Dame was playing Syracuse. And about 2 years ago, this time of year, we had been there on a Saturday. We had a game at Notre Dame on Saturday, and then we had a game in Milwaukee on Monday. And we decided, you know what, let's drive. We'll stay here in South Bend, and then we'll drive on Sunday to Milwaukee. And we had all come in separately. So we thought, well, we'll take one of the cars back to the airport, drop it off, and we'll drive in my car, my rental car. And the next morning when we got up, I'm waiting outside with my rental car, and Raftery is walking around with his little key fob, pressing the thing, and he can't find his car. So we said, where did you park it? And he says, well, if I knew where I parked it, I wouldn't be walking around doing this, would I? So I said, get in the car, we'll drive around. We drove around, he pressed that button past every car in the parking lot, and we couldn't find it. And Sean says, Bill, where did you have dinner 2 nights ago? And Bill says, oh my God. He had left it at a restaurant about 4 miles away because he didn't want to drive back. So, now Bill is going to be starring in a new production called Dude, Where's My Car? I'm here for one very important reason. When I was asked to do this, when Mike was kind enough to call, Sean McDonough and Bill Raftery had told me about this event. And as Whitey had said, you should be extraordinarily proud of this Red Smith Banquet. It is known all over the country. The people who have been here have nothing but positive things to say about it. Its reputation and character are unparalleled. I wanted to be a part of this. I'm a product of team sports, like so many of us here. For me, growing up, team sports was all I wanted to be a part of. I wanted to be a part of a team. And I once heard Larry Brown say, the former North Carolina player who coached at Kansas and UCLA, coached the Detroit Pistons to an NBA title. He's now the coach of the Charlotte Bobcats in the NBA, one of the great teachers and coaches in our game, said one time, very few players have been a member of a team. They've been on a team, but they haven't been a member of a team. And that's really what you're doing here tonight, is you are raising money, awareness, and providing resources for young people to be members of a team and to benefit from that, and to benefit in the pursuit of excellence that you can only get as a member of a team. Those who have played team sports understand that you can accomplish so much more as a group than you can as a team than you can as an individual. It's so much more meaningful than it is in anything you can do as an individual. And the greatest compliment that I think any of us ever received as players was that we were great teammates. I would rather be known as a great teammate than as a great player. Lucky for me, because I wasn't a great player. But I was laughing when Donald Driver said, nobody thought I could make it. And I said, well, they thought the same thing about me, but it was true. When I was drafted by the Dallas Mavericks, I went to camp, training camp, and Dick Motta was the head coach. And after seeing about 20 minutes of the workout, we took a water break, and I was over getting some water, and he came over and said, Jay, how's everything going? And I said, it's going great. And he said, your trip in was good? And I said, yeah, it was great. He said, hotel fine, hotel okay? Yeah, it's great. Did you get a chance to unpack yet? I said, not yet. He goes, good. But I had coaches growing up that believed in me. We all did. Coaches that saw beyond what you could do at that time and saw what you could be, and encouraged us, held us accountable, and let us know what we could do for our team and what we could do for our teammates around us. And I was really fortunate that I had that growing up, and I also had it in college. And I had a college coach in Mike Krzyzewski that one of the many things he told me and told all of us that was incredibly beneficial was he told us as a team, you're never going to be a great team until reflexively you can add the word together to anything you're talking about. We're going to play hard together. We're going to win together. We're going to work together. Everything we do has to be together, but it can't just be something that I tell you to say or you've understood, that's what I want. You're going to have to buy into that and feel that, and you're going to have to work for the guy next to you. And we had help. We had a great concept of help defense. And help defense wasn't about you. It was about him and him and him. It was about helping your teammates play their position and be unafraid to go out and guard somebody that if they got beat, you were going to be there. And I took a lot of pride in that after I learned how important it was. And what you're doing, the money you're raising, and the awareness and the resources that you're providing for the kids in this community, you couldn't be doing a better thing. And I just wanted to commend you for that. And I'm so glad I was here to be a part of it. And I want to congratulate every scholarship recipient, all the award winners. It was a privilege for me to be here and to get to meet all of you. And I hope we'll be able to meet afterwards and have a drink. I know Rafter would be proud of me if I did that. Actually, Jack told me Raftery only spoke for 5 minutes because he heard the bar was closing. But I promise you that when I leave here, in addition to my shameless stumping for the University of Virginia and Tony Bennett, I will also be telling everybody about the Red Smith Banquet and the great people of Appleton, Wisconsin. Thank you so much for having me.
Please subscribe to this channel, give this video a thumbs up, and hit that notification bell so you get notified when we post another great episode or interview. Download the podcast on Apple Podcast, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you for your support.